So I just finished watching Xbox's press conference, or not really press conference, showcase at E3 2012. Yay! Um, and I've watched for a couple years now, and I've always wanted to do like a reaction thing because I always have like all these thoughts swirling in my head right after. So I figured, what the hell? I have a YouTube channel, might as well do it, right? So I'm just gonna go basically chronological order. I have notes here, 3 pages of notepad notes, like this big. 3 pages, yeah, I tried to keep it brief. Anyway, I'm just going to start with basically what they did, how I felt about everything that they did, how I think it's going to affect them. But if you care about my opinion, I have a couple opinions myself. So I'm starting with, they started out really big. At first, though, I wasn't sure that the showcase had started. Watching TV, there were real people on the screen. I was like, what the hell? But yeah, that was Halo 4. Myself, I'm not the biggest Halo fan. I did play 1, 2, and 3, and I did beat 1, 2, and 3, but I never played any of the other ones after that. It looks really cool. Like it looks just like every other Halo we've ever played before, but they do have, I'm sure they have some advancements to multiplayer and everything, some small tweaks. Cortana looks a lot better than ever before, and the Forerunner technology that they were showing off, the robots that you're fighting, they're adding a lot to the canon of Halo, and I like that. I really like sci-fi and fantasy, and I'm sure that they're going to do it justice. But they started big, which was good. They started with Halo, kind of set the tone, or so I thought. Then they moved into the new Splinter Cell game, which was new to me. I had never heard about that before, but I thought it was really cool. I was looking at that, I was watching that, and just the way that they were taking people out just seemed pretty incredible. The game already looks really incredible. It looks really polished already. So, I mean, I can only imagine what it's going to look like when it comes out, which I didn't even hear an announced date, release date for it. But my favorite part of that thing was where he would take a guy down, and then he'd go and slice his neck, right? And then he'd go like this. Look away. He'd just look away and kill this guy. None. He doesn't even need to look anymore. Sam Fisher no longer needs to look at his people to kill him. He looks over here, bam, headshot. I just love that. That was like my favorite part of the Avengers movie when Hawkeye did that. And so that game looks really cool. Then they transitioned a little bit. Then they went ahead and they decided to go with voice. They started going right into Kinect immediately, which I kind of expected. Wasn't sure if they were going to do it, but what are you going to do? They went right for Kinect. All right. So they did something that was really cool. I mean, the voice commands for FIFA. I'm not a big soccer fan, so I didn't really care much about that. I mean, with FIFA, it seemed like they're saying kick. It's like, why isn't there a button for kick? What's the big improvement there other than pushing a button compared to you just saying kick? But the Madden one where you call audibles and stuff, I guess that can make it a little bit faster. I've played before, I've put in audibles before, sometimes I've put in the wrong one, I don't know what's going on. So I guess calling it out and saying hike is cool. Saying hike is cool, but pushing the button is just as effective, So I didn't really see too much of a point there. I'm sure it's a great addition, but it's probably not going to be nearly as useful as when you control squads, really. But then they went with, to Fable the Journey, and I gotta say, yeah, who cares? I don't like Fable the Journey. I like Fable. The Journey just seems like it's gonna be a bad game to me. I don't know. The way I look at it, the way it seems, it just looks like, whatever. I'm sitting there going, just cast spells. I don't care. I'm riding a horse. So there you go. So whatever about Fable the Journey. And then they had the new Gears, which was just a trailer, no gameplay. It looks like another Gears of War game. It looks cool. That's all I can really say about that. And that's where the games ended. For I have a full page of notes here, and there's not one game on there. Not one game. That's like 45 minutes of no games. Are you serious? Are you serious? How many people are going to E3 and like, you know what? I really want to hear about Windows 8 and Windows phones. No one cares. Oh my God, they were pissing me off. So right away they have me laughing. Right away they're like, you know what? We're gonna bring Bing to Xbox. Fantastic. Because I love using Bing. Bing, fucking Bing, 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 Bing. And this guy's binging everything, and it's like, oh my God, Oh my god, stop using Bing. Ah, so that just had me laughing right away. As soon as they said Bing integration, I was like, this is gonna be a funny press conference. Then they announced the new partnerships, and this was like the only thing in the span of not games that I thought was really cool, which they're partnering with Machinima, which is gonna be really cool. Obviously, you know, the YouTube channel Machinima, you know, making games, doing their thing, you know, that's a good partnership. They announced movie partnerships like they do every year, you know, stuff that you could read about online if you actually were interested. You know, it's not like a big fucking announcement like, oh, they're partnered with Paramount now. Okay, so you can get Paramount movies on there. Big whoop. You know, I can buy the disc and put it in there myself. Uh, then they had the sports interfaces, which is, you know, different from the sports with Kinect. It's like they did how you're gonna be able to watch the new sports on there, which is cool. Which I think is cool. I mean, if you're a sports fan, that's interesting. It's not really big E3 press conference news worthy, but the switching between games, seeing multiple games at once, that's all cool. And of course, in there they snuck in, that was the first appearance of the Windows Phone. The guy's just looking at it and scrolling through, scrolling through. All right, cool. He's using his Windows Phone to talk to his friends about Xbox Live. Yeah. Okay. So that was the first introduction to Windows Phone. Then they kept fucking talking about it, which I didn't care about. But then they announced the new thing, new music, which is just like everything else. You can find all your music and play it. And of course, they started talking about Windows 8 because Windows 7 isn't fucking new enough. Now they have Windows 8, and that's going to be rolling out probably within the next couple months on all these like tablets and stuff. So that's when I first started thinking, where the hell are the games? Are they going to talk about the games, or are they pretty much done with games? You know, Microsoft is moving away from games. They have a game console, but they're just going to make Halo and Call of Duty from now on. They started, that's when I was like, oh my god, where the hell are the games? And then they moved on to working out with it, working out with Nike or whatever, which the first thing that goes through my head is, how many people watching E3 are really going to use it for working out? People that use it for working out use the console only for working out. So there's no like middle-aged women watching E3. They're just gonna buy the game when it comes out, or, you know, use Xbox for that functionality when their kids show them. So they talk about this frickin' Nike thing, being like an athlete. Basically, they're insulting the fat gamers of the world. The guy is like, if you want to be like an athlete, or, you know, if you just want to be better than your fat ass self, that's disgusting me. Then, you know, use this functionality. So that was, yeah. I was thinking, yeah, there's got to be like less than 1% of the people watching care about this. And they have just, there's too much stuff to go over besides games, because then they keep moving on and it's still not about games. They finally bring it back to games in like the next thing, but they talk about Smart Glass. The Xbox's new integrating your phone, Windows Phone, they said again a couple times, but also iPhone and Androids. So a smartphone or a tablet with your games, which is kind of cool. But the thing they did was they drew, like there was a Madden play where they were going like shh, shh, shh. And there was one guy going shh, and this, so they erased that. And then they're like shh, shh, and it changes the play, which is awesome. And he did it on like a smartphone, changed it in the game. But I'm thinking, why don't you just let them use Kinect for that? That's what was going through my head. Like, why is that functionality not in the game for Kinect? Which it might be, but they didn't show it. And I was thinking, it's a cool feature, but how much is really going to be used? I mean, they have maps that you can look at in the game. They have maps, like Halo and stuff. You're going through like a ship. You can have the map on your phone. It can give you updates about placements and stuff, which is cool. But again, how much is going to be used? And then, of course, the other thing that just made me laugh my ass off was, now they have a web browser, and it's Microsoft. So obviously they went with Internet Explorer. So they didn't get hacked like as a big news like Sony did, but so they're giving themselves the opportunity, because if you know the web browsers, you know that Internet Explorer is like the least secure. Like, no one uses Internet Explorer unless unless you need to get something that's blocked by Google Chrome and Firefox because it's unsafe. Then you use Internet Explorer. At least that's been my experience with it. I never use it. It has like the biggest security holes, at least when Internet Explorer 7 did. I think they're on 8 now. But that was just like, oh my god. And then they finally get back to games, and they get back big. Tomb Raider. Now, the first thing that goes to my head is, this looks a lot like Uncharted, which is a good thing. which is a good thing. The game looks incredible. Using bow and arrows and stuff, lighting stuff on fire, using the environment for advantages was just awesome. She was shooting lights with a bow and bow and arrows were always bitching. And I was just like, wow, this game, I'm definitely gonna pick up this game. This is the first thing I've seen of it gameplay wise. It looks incredible. And it's like the fast action, like an Uncharted game, where there's not really a dull moment in any of this. Like there's set pieces. She's walking through a river. The river starts flowing like crazy because I think a dam breaks, and she like gets like pushed into an airplane, starts falling out. She grabs like a parachute, puts it on, and first one breaks, the second one doesn't. She's flying through the trees. It's just action packed. It looks like an amazing game. That's probably my favorite game that they showed. Really, honestly, that's probably the game that I saw that I was like, wow, that's incredible. And then they showed 3 teaser trailers, one from Signal Studios, one from Twisted Pixel, and one I think from 343, but I'm not sure. Basically, Signal Studios game. It's called Ascend. I don't know what the fuck is happening in this thing. I don't know what is happening. Like he's killing things. You don't know who your main character is because your main character, who I think was the main character, wasn't even on screen like the first half of the teaser trailer. And then at the end, it's Ascend the old gods or something. The guy just like gets summoned up to the heavens for some reason. I have no idea what's going on with this game. Loco Cycle, it's a motorcycle that apparently is a soldier. Enough said. Teaser trailer. That's all the information I have. And then there's Matter, which looks like the Portal robots kinda, but like they're running. There's it's not really. It's like just like globs of mercury or something like flying around. I have no idea what this game's about. Then they showed Resident Evil 6. And I was like, wow, this looks like a huge improvement. And they brought it back to scary. They showed Leon, the blonde guy, and they showed his segment, and it just looked incredible. And then flying the helicopter, there's quick time events, but they didn't seem very intrusive. They seemed like they were well placed, which I think is better. Like they're not really in the fights anymore. They're more like when you're controlling like a helicopter and stuff. At least so far, that's what I saw. And they brought it back to scary, which is the roots of their franchise, which is incredible. And then they surprised the hell out of me. They said Alex from Xbox Live, and then this girl gets on stage, and she's okay looking. And I'm like, well, that's a surprise. They had to have one girl on stage at some point, right? And surprising it's a girl. And then I can't even pay attention to the game because I'm too busy looking at her gigantic arm tattoos, all up one side of one arm, really colorful. And I'm just like, wow, those are cool tattoos. I didn't even know what game she was talking about till like halfway through her demo. And it's like some Castle Wrecker game, which looks cool, but it's Kinect completely, Xbox Live coming out in the summer. Pull down, release, and then you go like this. And then, all your friends are going to laugh at you while you play this game. It looked kind of like a cool game. But then, oh boy, then they really like just made me jizz my pants pretty much. It was like, I was like, oh my god, the South Park game. They started showing South Park, and I was like, oh my fucking god, that is incredible. I am so excited for this game. I was excited for it before. Now I'm just so much more excited for it. It draws completely upon the show material. You have the crab people. You have, Cartman making fun of Kyle for being a Jew. You have so much stuff from the show. It just looks so amazing. I can't even describe it. And then they have Professor Chaos is in there for Butters. You're the new kid. They're arguing, Carmen the Wizard, their stuff. The game looks just like the show. And it just blew my mind. And then Matt and Trey get on stage, the creators, and they start joking about glass whatever, the Xbox integration thing. They start messing around. They start laughing about it. I thought they were really funny. And then they said they had to go and work on the game, and they said that was completely honest. I completely believe them. They are dedicated workers. That game looks incredible. If they had a playable demo, that'd probably be my number one pick, but still Tomb Raider being the playable demo, I was blown away by that. The South Park game, you just look at it, and it looks just like the show, but it's in-game completely, and it's just incredible. And then they decided to start closing up the show. They started real big. They were like Dance Central 3, bitches. That's right. We got another one. And you can't see you can't just have DLC for $10 with all these new songs and keep the same game. No, you can't. Now, I don't know why you can't. You just can't. I think it's because you gotta have the new dancers. You gotta have like the new like ninjas. I think they had in Dance Central too. You have to have samurai this time, not ninjas, samurai that are dancing around. You know, whatever those moves are. I've seen it played like 3 times. I just know they have really random dance, like choreographed to be like the actual dancers on stage. So they got another one of those, and they can't just release DLC with songs, because, well, that won't make them money. And and then out of nowhere, I turned away for like, I don't know why, but I wasn't really paying that close attention. I might have been writing something down, and then I look back and I like, oh my god, I blacked out. I'm at the Super Bowl halftime show. But then I'm like, no wait, that's the Xbox stage. They just have Usher dancing there for some retarded reason. How many people watching the press conference, watching the showcase, are like, are just like, man, this is good, but where the hell's Usher? I want Usher. I'm a diehard fan of Usher, bitches. Like, bring him out. So he does a whole dance, and it's for Dance Central 3, but he does this whole dance, and it's crazy choreographed. And I'm like, if I have to do those dance moves on hard mode or something, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna like crack my spine and die. But I'm not gonna. I just didn't really understand the point of that one. Now, for celebrities, because Xbox always does have celebrities, they did have Joe Montana for the voice control for the sports, and I thought that was cool because he didn't overplay it. He was just playing the game. He was just talking. He was pretending like he was the quarterback again, calling out audibles and stuff. It made it seem really immersive. That was cool. Having Usher dance one of his really complicated dances is just like whatever. And they started big, and for the last game they showed, they ended big. Obviously, something I haven't talked about yet. Call of Duty Black Ops 2 finally goes futuristic, even though it's going to cost them millions of dollars because Infinity Ward's suing them. They finally went to the future. They might have gone a little bit too far. The guns don't even reload the same anymore. You got snipers that charge up. You have blue lights on your wrist that you hit a button like, and like drones come down and rain deadly fire upon the enemy. Like, just flying around you too. Just these drones flying around you. You got like targeting for missiles and stuff. Then you get in a jet and you take off vertical, and then because you can vertical take off. You're in the middle of New York City. You take off with a jet, and you can just mosey on down, following a barrack, following whatever, and just rain fire like down on the bitches. Just kill everybody that's coming at you. Which it's cool, but I mean, we've had segments like that in other Call of Duty games. It looks cool, and then you fly off and you face the other jets that don't have vertical takeoff. The vagina jets, the pussy jets, or whatever you call them. The stupid jets that nobody likes. And the gameplay looked cool, looked just like any other Call of Duty, just set in the future with futuristic stuff, futuristic weapons, bringing at least something fresh to the series. Modern Warfare's 1, 2, and 3 are pretty much the same thing, just upgraded slightly. They don't even take place in different time periods, so like there's no new weapons no new weapon technology there. So at least they're trying. Now, that brings me to, like, I guess if I had to give an overall grade, I'll go Game Informer style on it. I'll give an overall grade, and obviously people are going to disagree based on their preferences. I tried to be as unbiased as possible, but if I'm looking at it from an objective point of view, I'd say like a C minus. They talked now. All right, let me go over the good points. Is they had some new demos. They did talk about some of the bigger games coming out. They had demos for Call of Duty, like long demos for Call of Duty and Halo. They looked cool. They had demos for, like I said, Tomb Raider. They showed South Park. They had a lot of good stuff. They had 45 minutes where they didn't talk about games, though, and this is E3. That you can't do that. You can't, even if your thought process is let's lump all of the stuff that no one wants to hear together. You can't have, maybe that's good for 15 to 20 minutes, but if you have 45 minutes, which is half of the press conference, the showcase, for half of it, you're not talking about a game, you've got a problem with your whole setup. And also, no mention whatsoever of the new Xbox. That, I mean, I didn't really expect it too much, but with everything, but they didn't just have no new Xbox, they had pretty much no new IPs, no new games coming out, which it's a risk to do it so late in the console life cycle. I understand that, but you can bridge the gap. They can go from one generation to the next, like Halo did. went from original Xbox to Xbox 360. Just if you gotta come up with new stuff. This E3 is gonna be about new stuff coming out. Nintendo's completely new. They got a new console. They got new games coming out. Everything Nintendo's new. You can't have one company just coming out with bang, 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 new stuff, and you have nothing new. They had 3 new IPs that are gonna probably come to consoles that aren't just downloadable games that they had just teaser trailers of. They had no information on whatsoever. They had the Castle Record game, which is just Xbox Live. It's gonna be like a short, like one of those little family games. They had nothing new, and you cannot do that at E3. There was no big surprise there. There was no new franchises announced. There was no new release dates announced. There was nothing new about that press conference, other than the Xbox Live and Windows 8 and Bing and Internet Explorer, which none of those really relate to games in any big way other than Xbox Live, but the new stuff on Xbox Live doesn't pertain to the games at all. There's no major upgrades to Xbox Live. There was nothing major about that show. I wasn't impressed by one thing. The one thing that really surprised me was South Park, and the one thing I thought was really bitchin' was Tomb Raider. But that overall made up about 5% of the showcase. So, just ending thoughts. I thought they did an okay job. They showed off some demos that were really cool, but they had nothing new, and that really hurts you especially this year at E3. So those are just my thoughts, my reaction to the Xbox coverage. Agree, disagree, put them in the comments. I'd love to hear thoughts. I like to hear when people think the same as me, contradict me. If you thought that the press conference was just right, you thought that all that new Xbox Live stuff was the 45 minutes of no games was good stuff for you, then that's great. Just for me, I'm giving them a C-. If they had some new IPs, I'd give them a B. If they had something new, I would give them a B. So this has been Dragon Rider Jack, and those are my thoughts.